special environment, special field robot. Battlefield. Battlefield robot. Why I select this? Firstly, the military robot. Military robot. The military robot is developed as a autonomous weapons presently. で、オートナスウェポンはキラーロボットになって、キラーロボット。で、今、presently, the killer robot campaign has been started in UN, United Nations. So therefore, today's topic is like this. Drone, before this class, I show the drone video. The drone is useful and presently widely spread for the industries and also the ordinary life and in some parts the individual delivery service has been started. But it's also there is some dark side, of course. Of course, the military, some battles or the war is a good chance to develop the technologies because the purpose is to beat others and make some achievement. So we don't have to think about cost because we have to survive. But so therefore the war is a very big chance to develop the technologies. And the technologies is also after the battle technologies, military technologies has been developed, and then it will become some part of them is applied to the ordinary applications, the daily life applications, of course. So therefore this is in any case the technology has a good side and bad side. And today's topic is today's explanation is mainly for today's subject because next week you have the 1 week holiday. So therefore maybe you have some time and I ask you to think something about the killer robot and the stop killer robot campaigns. じゃあちょっとthe most important part that I will give ちょっと I will change this order. いいか、これか。これですね。例えばミリタリーロボットよね。ミリタリーロボット、コンバットロボット、アンマンドコンバットで、グランドロボット、エアリービークル、グランドビークル。is there. ちょっとこのロッキード・マーチンビデオ見てみますか It is 5 years old.
This is our legacy. 70 years of breakthrough technologies. From the first to the fastest. The most durable. The most daunting. They led the fight. At home at night. They changed the course of history. Innovation is our legacy and our future. Today, at Lockheed Martin Missiles and Fire Control, that legacy of innovation continues in every product line we make. We begin with air and missile defense. Our air and missile defense systems defeat all attacks by air. At Coalition headquarters, a hostile missile is only seconds away. Missile launch from Iraq. Area at Kuwait. There's no margin for error. Destroying ballistic threats is what this nearby Patriot battery is all about. It hits back fast and hard with a PAC-3 missile. The PAC-3 is heard roaring overhead, seconds before smashing the Iraqi warhead like a bullet hitting bullet. This This Patriot Advanced Capability 3 missile is the most potent air defense missile deployed today. We've taken PAC-3 know-how even further to the next generation of air and missile defense. Both PAC-3 and THAAD, the Terminal High Altitude Area Defense Missile, deliver a crushing strength called hit to kill. THAAD began production in 2006, and within 3 years, capability was delivered to the warfighter. An integrated THAAD battery includes a radar, up to 9 launchers with 8 interceptors per vehicle, and a fire control and communications unit. The THAAD system can be rapidly deployed anywhere in the world and plays a critical role in the ballistic missile defense system. THAAD intercepts and destroys ballistic missiles both inside and outside the atmosphere during the final phase of flight.
いいやということで今ミサイルパワーだったけどPAC-3とかやってましたね今ねサワーとかねでまあ this kind of system requires some sensing and also control and the estimation of the target and so on. So therefore the many advanced technologies is used and also the necessary to realize this kind of systems. でまあいいやこれでどんどんとなんだいろんなミリタリーロボットとか出てくるんだけどで today it is becomes a killer ロボットね、例えば何かな例えばこれかこれを見てみるはい iPod ウォリアとかいうのは今ちょっと多かったですね。This is shown so much。それはこれか。これですね。 パックボットとかアイロボットっていうのは MIT のロドリー・ブルックス make this company. And then the iRobot is very famous about the vacuum cleaning robot. But one side is this kind of vacuum cleaning robot, but the other side is about this kind of battle robot. Okay, Packbot, ground robot. Packbot is become used in ground military as one of the military groups. Some member has become, and it is very useful for the ground project, some project. It becomes one main member, and also it is one of the robot. The firstly, the inspecting inside of the Fukushima reactor power plant building. At that time. ユーザーまあいいやこれ。more than 3,000. Presently it has become more than 5,000 Packbot robot has become delivered to military and civil defense forces worldwide. Because it has launched more than 10 years ago. And more smaller type, for example, this is a smaller type, iRobot 110 is a smaller type, so it is also very useful. ちょっとオーバービュービデオ見てますか？ちょっと、まあいいか。First look. This is small robot. So
Get immediate situational awareness with the iRobot 110 First Look. A small, light, throwable robot. Weighing about 5 pounds, First Look is ideal for building clearing, raids, and other close-in scenarios. Or to remotely assess industrial environments. First Look allows operations where other robots can't fit or move. When communication is spotty, re-establish it quickly using First Look's mesh radio capabilities. Multiple First Look robots can be set up to relay reliable communications and increase your operational range in challenging environments. First Look gives you eyes and ears with its 4 built-in cameras and its 2-way audio communication.
Female subject, gun in the right hand. Put the gun down, put the gun down.
First Look has a range of available accessories. Use First Look's optional integrated deployment and accessory camera to expand your visibility. Mounted on a flexible mast, the camera provides an adjustable 270-degree view with visible light illumination. Motorized retention pins make it fast to deliver a variety of small objects. To safely increase your situational awareness, use one of First Look's accessories. In low-light situations, equip it with a thermal camera. Add the manipulator arm to lift objects remotely. Or use the hazmat sensors to remotely investigate an unknown situation. Use First Look to identify threats or get help with maritime interdiction at a safer standoff distance. First Look is lightweight, waterproof, and rugged. Use it in all weather conditions. It's maneuverable so you can use it to climb steps, roll over obstacles, or turn in place to overcome challenging conditions. Using First Look's rugged operator control unit is easy. Powered by iRobot Aware 2 robot intelligence software. The OCU includes an integrated radio, battery, and joystick. Get immediate situational awareness with First Look, the small, light, throwable robot.
This kind of small robot is also useful for not only military but also police. Of course. So, で、ちょっともう skip to this and then move on to the killer robot part. So therefore, it is, firstly, it is also the remote operated robot. But the AI technology has become developed. So therefore, some intelligence, some intelligent control or some intelligent decision making has become implemented inside of this kind of robot. So therefore, it has become the military robot is firstly the remotely operated, but it has some AI technologies is equipped So therefore, it becomes autonomous. Sensing the environment and then its movement, its operations has been decided by itself. So therefore, this kind of military robot become autonomous. So autonomous weapon, it means. で、まあ、so therefore the drone ね、drone is remotely operated, but the drone is also become autonomous. で、ちょっと最後こっち行きますか。ちょっと Truth about Killer Robot Official Trailer それじゃなくて Once More Robot これでもいいかな。はい。ヒューマンでソルジャーズ。In place of human soldiers, this kind of robot will become more widely used. Autonomous weapon are coming. This is how to get them right. ちょっとこれを見てみますか。
Revealed. Autonomous weapons are coming. This is how we get them right. Fully autonomous weapons are not only inevitable, they have been in America's inventory since 1979. In November 2017, the Future Life Institute released its Slaw Turbot video, which featured swarms of miniature autonomous drones killing U.S. senators on Capitol Hill and students on a university campus. Hyperbolic, scary, insinuating drones beyond today's capabilities. The video is part of the Institute's campaign to ban autonomous weapon systems. The Future of Life, which seeks to ban all autonomous weapons, represents one end of the debate over these new technologies. It treats autonomous weapons as fundamentally new and different weapons. In fact, only the general public awareness of autonomous weapon systems is new. As a Brookings report notes, autonomous weapons have existed and been in use in a variety of settings for decades. Admittedly, due to technical limitations, the application of autonomy has not been widespread but rather limited to specific operational problems. However, recent advances in task-specific or limited artificial intelligence mean that a very wide range of weapons can be made autonomous. Therefore, it is important we explore ways to exploit autonomy for national defense while addressing the ethical, legal, operational, strategic, and political issues. Perhaps the question generating the most discussion is whether autonomous weapons should be allowed to kill a human being. Human Rights Watch notes that the level of autonomy granted to weapon systems can vary greatly. Its categorization is worth quoting at length.
いいか、ちょっとまあそういう話ですよ。まあオートノマスウェポンさっきはのアンマンドビークルでアンマンドビークル is bombing to the target autonomously. So therefore, some of people is worrying about this kind of killer robot, autonomous killer robot. Then the new campaign to stop killer robot has started in 2013, about 6 years ago. The Human Rights Watch, non-NGO, non-governmental organization, has started this project. The UN urged to ban killer robots before they can be developed. So this kind of thing, and then because we will be able to select the attack target without any human intervention. So how to distinguish this is a soldier or the civil person, civil people, it is a little bit, it is very difficult to decide who should be killed, who should be saved. So this paper has been published by this campaign, the 2015 April, the lack of accountability for killer robot. So you should access this site and get this PDF, for example. This is a 44 pages paper. Mind the gap, the lack of accountability for killer robot. The Human Rights Watch and the International Human Rights Clinic has published this report. これは2015年。で、コンテンツは、fully autonomous weapons and their risks and the importance of personal accountability, criminal accountability and civil accountability is necessary, they say, they are discussing. So please read during this holiday week. So the campaign video is also, for example,例えばそうだ、フューチャーメタリーロボットじゃなくて、これが Stop Killer Robot Campaign 2 minutes. So please watch this.
When I say killer robot, probably the first thing that springs to mind is some fight scene out of a science fiction action movie. You might think, awesome idea, or nah, not really my thing. But did you know that precursors to killer robots are actually being developed right now? Killer robots are robotic weapons that choose and fire on targets, all of their own accord, without any human intervention. Sounds pretty crazy, right? Well, their predecessors are already active. Take the US X-47B, the first unmanned aerial vehicle to take off and land at sea. The X-47B demonstrates how technology is advancing from remote-controlled to autonomous aircraft. Or the semi-autonomous robots on the South Korean border that lock onto anything suspicious coming from North Korea. Robots are slowly taking over the role of humans in war zones. Unless action is taken to stop this, soon it won't be humans that decide over matters such as life and death, but machines. It's questionable whether these machines will take something like international humanitarian law into account. Would a machine be able to distinguish between a military target and a civilian? And who would be held accountable when things go wrong? The manufacturer, programmer, or the robot? Moreover, does it make it all too easy for governments to use violence? During the Obama administration, the use of armed drones has increased, and so has the number of civilian casualties caused by armed drones. 10 years ago, we wouldn't have been able to imagine drones taking center stage in the way we fight wars today. Let's take control of our future by insisting that humans, not machines, are always responsible for the use of force. We are calling on all nations to consider ethical, legal, and military concerns over fully autonomous weapons, and to work towards a ban on the development, production, and the use of these weapons. Share this video and go to our website for more information on killer robots and what you can do to stop this.
っていうビデオは、これか。About 5 years ago, this video has launched. で、ちょっとこれ、most important video is this, I think. これ、about 8 minutes なんだけど、ちょっとドローン。It's a story about a drone. で、this is the 本当にムービー。コマーシャルやベラボーじゃねえや。ムービー、ディベロップ。ちょっと、イングリッシュバージョンだけど、but the also Japanese subtitle has been added in. You can see on the YouTube when you watch the YouTube. でちょっと今 Today I will show in original English version. So the ちょっと please watch 8 minutes ね。見てみてくださいこれ。
Customer pilots directed almost 3,000 precision strikes last year. We're super proud of it. It allows you to separate the bad guys from the good. It's a big deal. But we have something much bigger. Your kids probably have one of these, right? Not quite. Hell of a pilot? No. That skill is all AI. It's flying itself. Its processor can react 100 times faster than a human. The stochastic motion is an anti-sniper feature. Just like any mobile device these days, it has cameras and sensors, and just like your phones and social media apps, it does facial recognition. Inside here is 3 grams of shaped explosive. This is how it works. Did you see that? That little bang is enough to penetrate the skull and destroy the contents. They used to say guns don't kill people. People do. Well, people don't. They get emotional, disobey orders, aim high. Let's watch the weapons make the decisions. Now trust me, these were all bad guys. Now that is an airstrike of surgical precision. It's one of a range of products. Trained as a team, they can penetrate buildings, cars, trains, evade people, bullets, pretty much any countermeasure. They cannot be stopped. Now, I said this was big. Why? Because we are thinking big. Watch. A $25 million order now buys this. Enough to kill half a city. The bad half. Nuclear is obsolete. Take out your entire enemy, virtually risk-free. Just characterize him, release the swarm, and rest easy. These are available today. We have a distribution network taking orders from military, law enforcement, and specialist clients.
The nation is still recovering from yesterday's incident, which officials are describing as some kind of automated attack, which killed 11 U.S. senators at the Capitol building.
They flew in from everywhere but attacked just one side of the aisle. It was chaos. People were screaming.
You can see high windows, very small, precisely punctured to gain entry to the building.
What did you do for the victim?
I just did what I could for him. Things weren't even interested in me. They're just buzzing.
Government sources admit the intelligence community has no idea who perpetrated the attack, nor whether it was a state, group, or even a single individual.
So if we can't defend ourselves, then we strike back.
We are investing very heavily in classified defense projects.
We make it our deterrent like our nuclear deterrent. We stockpile in the millions, the billions.
At key facilities, the White House, the New York Stock Exchange, Wall Street.
Well, we wish we had boots on the ground in every community in this country, but we don't.
Ollie? Ollie, oh, hi. Hi, Ollie, honey. How's Edinburgh today? How are all your studies going? Good. Oh, great. Hey, aren't we doing a video call today?
I'm kind of with people, so.
Oh, well, come on, Oliver, put her on.
Oh, no, it's
not like that.
Well, listen, I see some photos here with somebody, and I can see lots of likes, and what the hell about all shit here? Your mom, is that the spy stuff by the military? What is this video? we're here. Oh.
No, I'm not going to click on it. It's just this human rights thing on oppression or whatever.
Honey, you're not going into politics, are you? I mean, don't get me wrong.
It's safe here, just like you said it would be.
Heavy traffic approaching the A720 this morning.
Police are not saying this morning what prompted the alert.
Claim relaxing firearm legislation would be useless against the so-called slaughterbots.
Just to stay away from crowds. When indoors, keep windows covered with shutters.
Protect your family. Stay inside. Authorities are still struggling to make sense of an attack on university campuses worldwide, which targeted some students and not others. The search for a motive is apparently turning to social media, and a video shared by the victims exposing corruption at the height.
So far from surprising, the weapons took away the expense, danger, and risk of waging war. And now we can't afford to challenge anyone, really. It's not even the smallest fringe group or a crank.
Who could have done this?
Anyone.
Dumb weapons drop where you point. Smart weapons consume data. When you can find your enemy using data, even by a hashtag, you can target an evil ideology right where it starts.
This short film is more than just speculation. It shows the results of integrating and miniaturizing technologies that we already have. I'm Stuart Russell, a professor of computer science at Berkeley. I've worked in AI for more than 35 years. Its potential to benefit humanity is enormous, even in defense. But allowing machines to choose to kill humans will be devastating to our security and freedom. Thousands of my fellow researchers agree. We have an opportunity to prevent the future you just saw, but the window to act is closing fast.
Hi. という話でした。Okay. So the autonomous weapon. So that you don't have to show your faces on the net. So this is not imaginary condition. So it will become the near future. So therefore, this kind of AI controller, how to control this? If it is invaded, it become not good way, not work in a good way. No country would be safe from fully autonomous weapon というのもちょっと見てみますか。 というわけですよ。というわけです。はい。そう、ちょっとこれは言ってもらいたいんです。このローン、オーデイライフっていうやつのさっきの、エッセイの話ね。エッセイの話をちょっとそれだけはしとかなきゃいけないので、これですね。DARPA、Defense Advanced Research Project Agency、ね、US ミリタリーですね。ちょっとまあ、それだけど、Real Life Military Technology、many technologies has been transferred into the daily life usage. Okay? だから、インターネット is firstly developed by the defense army. And missiles and GPS, global positioning system. The freezing dry is also to keep the food in the military battlefield. And also the EpiPen. To injection pencil ね。injection pencil。それからカーゴパンツとか、ダクトテープとか、ガスカンとか、ジープとか、コンピューターズ、マイクロウェーブオーブン、レフリジレーター、デジタルカメラーズ、アンティビオティクスとか、canned food is also like the freezing dry, and ambulance services, sunglasses, safety lasers, tampons, pads, and other female hygiene products, and super is also all of them are developed from the military technologies, and also we are very usefully using these kind of technologies, of course. So any technology has a good side and bad side. ちょっとこのwomen is a head of this DARPA's project, and then she is saying she is saying about the technology and the direction of the DARPA's present technology.
I make a little list here of some of the projects that DARPA has played a key role in over the last few decades. You've got the internet, GPS starting in 1959, virtual reality, satellites, stealth aircraft, UAVs, unmanned aerial vehicles, night vision, precision guidance, smartphones, even Siri. I mean, the list goes on and on.
It's a tremendous heritage. And of course, the challenge for those of us who have the privilege of serving at DARPA today, our job is to make the investments now in 2014 that become those kinds of transformations for the next generation.
Give me an example of a surprise that DARPA created.
One example is stealth aircraft that allowed our warfighters to go into very contested environments and evade radar, which was an amazing new capability when that became possible.
The stealth fighter, the B-2 bomber.
Exactly. And then on the enabling technology side, 45 years ago, DARPA did this sort of crazy experiment, which was to hook a couple of computers together and have them talk to each other. That was the beginning of the ARPANET, which became the internet today.
So Al Gore, eat your heart out, DARPA invented the
Well,
internet.
so, Al Gore did a lot to make it the real internet that we've got today, but DARPA planted the very first seeds for that.
Yeah. So can DARPA say we created the internet, or they can say we did something very early that got it going?
We created the ARPANET, which was the predecessor network, and the internet grew out of that. And like so many of our investments, we plant these early seeds that create a technology base, and then after that, vast numbers of other people across the technology community, and a huge amount of entrepreneurship and private capital. All of that has to happen to turn those ideas in the technology base into the internet and the smartphone that you have in your pocket and the technologies that have changed how we live and work.
So the smartphone too. DARPA had a role in what we now know as the smartphone.
A lot of the technologies that went into the smartphone. So the chip that's in your phone that talks to the cell tower and sends a radio signal actually shares a common heritage with the really sophisticated radars that are on Navy ships that help us see where the adversary is. They both trace back to core technology investments to make semiconductor components be able to send radio waves.
So when Siri just isn't listening to me, can I say doggone DARPA?
You should try it, see what happens. That would be great.
See if she responds, see if she gets it together. I make a little list here of some of the projects that DARPA has played.
これがファーストパートでちょっとセカンドパート見ますか3分3 minutes
We're always looking to see where the frontiers of science are generating amazing new innovation, because that's where the seeds of technological surprise are going to be. And in biology today, we're getting those signals about what's going to be possible from neuroscience as we develop new ways to understand the brain and to repair damage to the brain, but also in the future enhance what we're able to do with our brains. Amazing things are going to come out of that kind of work.
Yeah. Can you even imagine what can come out?
Well, we're starting to be able to imagine it. One of our programs a few years ago, one of our programs was revolutionizing prosthetics, and it set out to give our wounded warriors who had lost limbs in these terrible violent incidents overseas, we wanted to give them a better option than a simple hook, which had been the standard practice for decades. And so the second part of what he did was start understanding neural signaling from our motor cortex. What are the signals that allow us to control our limbs? That work culminated in human trials in the last few years, and in particular, one of our wonderful volunteers is a woman named Jan. She's a quadriplegic, but she's had these implants now on her motor cortex, 2 tiny little chips that pick up her neural signals, and she uses her thoughts to control this sophisticated mechanical arm. Now, it's so exciting to think about what kind of restoration we can do with that for people who have lost their ability to control a limb or have lost a limb. But of course, it also opens this other door, because now we can go directly from the brain into the mechanical world, and that's, I think it's exciting and terrifying to think about what's on the other side, and we're going to have to we as a society are going to have to think hard about where we want to go.
What is terrifying about it?
Lets us imagine a future, possibly, where there are ways to be able to do that kind of pickup of neural signaling, fine detailed pickup of neural signaling, without having to use surgical techniques. And if we got to that future, you can imagine a pilot flying a plane, instead of having a neural signal that tells him how to control the controls through his limbs. Imagine if he was able to eliminate that latency and fly the plane directly
from his brain.
Right. That's the part that sounds exciting, but once you can do that,
that also sounds a little scary.
Exactly. And I think that's the nature of these leading edge technologies, is we pursue them because of their promise, but we know that they're going to pose really interesting and important challenges for us as a society.
というわけで、DARPA is saying that that is about 5 years ago, the brain is one target to do for the US military technologies, and that's because the human brain is here, and to concentrate his notices or integrating his attentions. This is very important for example, some air soldiers is driving the unmanned vehicle for many hours, and to keep the concentration and how to decide the target and how to control the vehicle is presently this is driven by some joystick in US land, but this plane is working on for example, in the West Asia or some part, it flies. So therefore, how to concentrate and how to this operation scale is monitoring and acquired from monitoring the signals, brain signals, of course, and then it will be applied to some autonomous technologies, of course. So therefore, they are presently focusing about the brain sciences. Then, of course, this kind of technology also become useful for the ordinary life. But it looks like this.
はい。
はい。 まあほとんど今日の today's part is I have explained, but to the of course there are several materials to watch here. If you want, I can say something about this. まあ例えばグランドムーブメントとかやったら、まあクワードラップとかさ、バイクとロボットとかさ、this kind of special mobility とかさ、many kinds of ways is there. Not only United States, but also this is India. これ、Defense Research and Development Organization India とか、これはどこだっけ？忘れたな。まあいいや。まあフランスとか、どっかにフランスってあった。これか。これはフランスだし。ね。はい。まあいいや。ヘックスと言いますか、これ。ラフテラム、ムービングロボット。2012ね。もう more than 10 years ago this robot was launched って話ね。それからまあこのクワードリトルドッグっていうのもいいんだけど、ビッグドッグは it is the これに言ってみますか。following the military soldier leader ね。でなんか carrying the baggage まあこういうやつですね。まあレックスペースシステムとか言って、まあこれも more than 10 years ago it has been more advanced train ロボット。それからチーターロボットがこういうちょっとなんか実験のこれトレッドミルの上を、テスティングしている写真ですけど、これ見てみますか。MIT のチーター2。 を使ってね、2D ディスタンスセンサーを使って、this obstacle を distinguish して、change its the motion pattern で、overcome this obstacle, jump over this obstacle ですね。セーフティーカーにしましても、これが大体2015ですね。で、その他にもスモーラーサイズになって、スポットっていうロボットになって、これもちょっと見ますか、スポット。アームをつきましたよ。いいですね。はい。というようなロボットですね。でそれが今、スポットミニで This is commercially available になってますね。というわけです。まあいいや。というようなロボットがありますと。いうことで、ちょっとこのイントロダクションビデオで見てみます。まあいいですかね。まあこういうやつですね。あとだから今は、どれかな。BBC ニュース見ますか。ということですね。はい。 間があるからまだ見て
From ship-hunting Tomahawk missiles to autonomous UAV swarms, the Pentagon has long sought to protect its human forces by having weapons fight in their stead. But as these systems gain ever greater degrees of intelligence and independence, their increasing autonomy has some critics worry that humans are ceding too much power to them. The autonomous weapons of tomorrow will theoretically be able to identify, target, engage, and neutralize enemy forces, potentially without any form of human oversight. But in that case, where does responsibility lie when something goes wrong? Is it within the weapons system itself, its human overseer, or the defense contractors that developed it? So far, there's no clear-cut answer. But that's not to say that the world's militaries are in a particular rush to build Skynet and instigate the end times. The Department of Defense in 2012 issued Directive 3000.09, which regulates R&D efforts into these weapons. It demands that autonomous and semi-autonomous weapon systems shall be designed to allow commanders and operators to exercise appropriate levels of human judgment over the use of force. But this too raises questions. What constitutes appropriate levels of human judgment? As Professor Noel Sharkey of the University of Sheffield points out, those appropriate levels could mean anything, from humans making every critical decision in the steps leading up to initiating a strike, to allowing an AI to do the same while the human holds veto power over the final decision to attack. It's a slippery slope, Sharkey argues. So what's humanity to do, besides wait for the sweet release of death after our military machines rise up against us? As the DoD spokesman pointed out, international treaties, like the ones that help regulate nuclear and chemical weapons from past conflicts, may not be effective, given that most of this technology's hardware and software is already ubiquitous and in many cases commercially available. But just as with the atom bomb, its potential for misuse does not guarantee that such misuse will occur. It's up to the world community to come together and decide, once and for all, what we want our collective future to look like, and whether or not we want it run by Terminators.
Oh, it's facing to the Terminator age. ああ、そうです。なんか
The city is under attack from autonomous weapons. Residents are ordered to stay inside and turn their lights down.
Are you okay?
Yes. What should I do?
Just stay where you are. They're focusing on military targets.
They're firing at the building across the street.
They make mistakes. Don't panic. I won't confuse them.
The dog's going crazy.
はい、というわけです。OK ですか？